Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Running Code, humor in South Texas law enforcement. I'm your host, T-Bone. Along with me is my partner, J-Man. J-Man, what's up?
Not much.
Another beautiful Sunday.
Yep, long night.
Cold today. Oh, yeah, you worked a long day yesterday, about 14, 15 hours. That was a long day.
Yep.
It's the joys of law enforcement for those that haven't had that pleasure. It's long days. But at least you're getting paid. We
Yep.
ain't doing it for free.
That's
Although
true.
we're not getting paid for worth, and that's for damn sure. So for those of us that are just joining us, we are humor and education and law enforcement, but for those that have been with us a while, we kind of pick topics, bounce off topics, and we're waiting on you guys to give us topics. That's that's what I put out in every podcast. We have our email. It's runningcode2023@gmail.com. That's RUNNINCODE@gmail.com. If you have an idea, something you want us to talk about, something you want us to address. We're not doing specific cases right now. We've had a few of those emails. Hey, you need to look into this case and talk about it. We don't have that kind of time for research right now. Eventually, our goal is to get to that point, but we just don't have that kind of time right now. We don't have the resources or the time. But that is a goal eventually, is to do that. And another goal that we have that J-Man and I talked about is actually having in-screen share where you can see a video that we can dissect and talk about whether it was good, bad, or it was good but it looked bad, or it's bad but it looked good, or however you want to put it and whatever the situation may be. And then the eventual goal is to do live broadcasting as well, similar to what Anti-Hero does now. They started out as a strictly podcast, and they moved over to, they do podcasts, they also do live shows,
Right.
live broadcasting where people can comment real time or call in. I'd love to have that ability. I don't think we had the people for it yet, but we got to start somewhere. So those are the eventual goals. If you want to leave comments on the YouTube videos or audios, because the audio and the videos both on YouTube as well. We're on all the major podcasting networks, Apple, Spotify. I think we're on them all.
Mm-hmm.
And then Buzzsprout is who we use to upload this stuff. They're going to come out with that feature soon. I talked about it last episode on direct messaging to the podcasters, to the hosts.
Right.
So that's what we're trying to do, guys. Again, we're trying to keep it every Sunday. Stuff comes up. J-Man can't do it. I can't do it. But it's starting to even out. We're moving to a new studio in this week. We're moving to a whole different studio. So we're going to try to do an episode next Sunday. It depends on if we get the studio done, get it put together, everything's working, because this stuff is finicky. You unplug it, you plug it back in, all of a sudden nothing works again. It's technology and I are not good bedfellows. I don't get along with technology. I'm an old school kind of guy. I still miss flip phones. You know, you could throw it, or drop it, and battery lasted 7 days. You didn't have to text anybody. It was great. When I was a drill sergeant, I used to throw my flip phone at trainees. Pin your hands and throw it, and battery come up, and battery back in, worked just fine. You know, I think these have caused. Let's talk about that.
Yeah.
Because I think social media has caused 99% of the fucking problems we have now.
No.
Is the ease of access to news, quote unquote. And for those listening, I quoted that, news, quote unquote. Just because someone filmed it doesn't make it news.
Mm-hmm.
Just because they had their phone out and doesn't make it news. And that's kind of one of the biggest problems, I think, honestly. I think I just found a topic for today. Social media and its influence, and negative and positive, on law enforcement. And it's mostly negative. Because people don't post, by and large, the officer rescuing the puppy doesn't get a whole lot of traction.
No.
Because I guess they feel, well, that's what they should be doing anyway. But when an officer gets into a fight with somebody, it looks bad, because as we know, force looks bad.
Yeah.
Even when we try to use the smallest minimal amount. Oh my God, he's putting his hands on that guy for no reason at all.
Yeah.
It's always no reason at all. Like, we just walked up randomly, just grabbed some dude, threw him on the ground. They don't have the whole story. Like, no, that's the suspect we've been looking for. And as soon as we got out, he started he wanted to fight, and we were going to get on top of him fast, get him into custody.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the goal is not to hurt somebody in an arrest. And this is what a lot of people don't understand, is we're not trying to hurt people when you arrest them.
That's true. Yeah.
This is not the 50s where that was just a good time. Okay. The goal is to no force. I'd love to have no force. I'd love every arrest was never use any force. So they just comply and, hey, deal with it in court, man. And in the county we're in, you're going to be fine. Don't worry about it. Like, it's going to be a minor inconvenience.
Right.
You know, I think I said this before. We don't disrupt criminal activity in this county. We marginally inconvenience criminals. Honestly, unless it was murder or like something majorly serious, we just marginally inconvenience fucking criminals anymore. We don't disrupt and smash criminal organizations. That sounds great. Looks good on TV. This ain't The Rookie. You know, all those shows that, we're lucky to actually disrupt any kind of actual criminal activity. We marginally inconvenience criminals. That's what we do anymore. And that's because our hands are so tied. I mean, and they should be. I mean, we should have it harder, because people have the right to do these things, and remember, everyone's innocent until proven guilty, so it should be hard. We should not be able to just grab somebody, throw them in prison, and say good luck and rot.
I think also it's like, man, society is also divided on, like, from what I've seen, society is divided on how they think criminals should be treated too. Like I
You're
remember
right.
watching I think I remember watching a shooting where can't remember the city, can't remember the agency, can't remember how long ago it was, but an officer got shot and of course returned fire from either that officer or other officers on scene. And he ended up killing the shooter. But then there was kind of this thing, well, we don't think that the officers should have shot him. They should have tried to de-escalate somehow. But it's like, how do you de-escalate somebody actively opening fire on somebody? And then, okay, well, let's just say they choose not to shoot back. He gets somewhere and he barricades himself. Okay, now you can say the de-escalation point is there because he's barricaded. But if an officer makes the right decision to shoot somebody that shot them, what do you mean? What other option is there? Like,
It goes back to
that's weird. Some people want that to do that. Some of the public is on that side, and then the other one is like, no, that's completely 100%. You pull a gun on police, law enforcement, or anybody. It can be a civilian,
Yeah.
and they just defend themselves. That's the right choice, and to me, that is the right choice because it's self-defense.
Well, you cross the line.
Yeah.
You cross the line. It is what it is.
At least in Texas, there is no duty to retreat.
Yeah.
I know in Minnesota,
California,
Maryland, where I'm from, like, you have a duty to retreat.
Yeah.
I don't say that Maryland says you don't have a duty to retreat. Well, you better retreat. Like, you better retreat, man. You use self-defense in the state of Maryland, depending where you're at.
Well, Chapter 9 of the
You just
Texas
said.
Penal Code does not differentiate for law enforcement versus civilians. Deadly force is deadly force, and it doesn't differentiate in Chapter 9 of the Texas Penal Code, which covers force, that this applies to officers but not to civilians. We still follow all the same rules. Now, there are Supreme Court case rulings that apply to law enforcement specifically, such as Graham versus Garner versus Tennessee, and Barnes versus Felix, which that's a 2015 court case. And they still really don't mention it at the academies because it's not as old as Graham and Garner. But Felix versus Barnes, or Barnes versus Felix, was another landmark Supreme Court ruling that people don't understand, is that when you break down an officer-involved deadly force incident, use of force, deadly force, and this one I think specifically applies mainly to deadly force, is what were the entire circumstance leading up to that. The court specifically said you need to take into account not just the moment of the incident, but what happened up to it.
Right.
So what did the officer know on the way? What was he told by his CAD? What was he told by dispatch? What was he told by witnesses? What was he told by other officers? And you can only be held accountable, again, for what you knew at the time, not what you found out later in hindsight. But that can be a double-edged sword, too. That can cut you coming the other direction.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll give you an example. I know an officer who, the policy of his agency makes it clear. We don't chase bikes. We don't chase motorcycles. If they crash, they're going to die. And we just, you know what, let them go. Now, that's that agency. There's DPS, which will absolutely chase you for anything. Bike, car, doesn't matter. You chose to run and you die, that's on you. But that's state police, who falls under one director, who falls under one governor.
Right.
And he said, go for it. And they'll tell the public, well, you shouldn't have ran. But individual agencies, such as municipal police or county sheriff's offices, answer to the people in that county or that city.
Mm-hmm.
So they've said, hey, we don't need to deal with this. We don't want the lawsuits. We don't want the public outcry because some 18-year-old wanted to be funny on a crotch rocket, and then he gets chased and crashes and dies. So here's that the hindsight can also hurt you. In this specific instance, he was following the motorcycle. Motorcycle didn't signal. He went to pull him over. Chases on. Now, it's a big old Harley. It wasn't a bullet bike. It was a Harley. So he's like, well, he's not really going to get up. He's not going to get away from me on that big old Harley. It's not a bullet where he's gone. So he chased him. Well, the guy ends up crashing out. Not hurt all that bad. In fact, it was just minor boo-boos. But then they find out the bike's stolen.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he tried to use that as an excuse. Can't. You didn't know it was stolen prior.
Right.
You found out afterwards. So you cannot come back later and say, well, hey, the bike was stolen. You didn't know that at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if he'd have ran the plate, because he wasn't able to get close enough to get the plate originally. and it came up stolen, you might have a little more leeway because it's a felony in progress. You got unauthorized use of motor vehicle. Could be theft depending on how long ago it was stolen. That's basically how Texas works.
Right.
But you didn't know that. You were pulling him over for a taillight. That was it. And you were, oh, I'm going to chase him now. And the guy ended up wrecking. Now, luckily, he wasn't hurt that bad. Minor bumps and bruises, which is why the officer got a vacation and not a termination.
Mm-hmm.
But, so that's what I'm saying. Hindsight can help you. Or, I mean, what you know up to the time can help you. But hindsight can't really help you. But it can hurt you if you try to use it as an excuse later for why you did what you did.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, why'd you fight that guy, tase him, and beat him up? We robbed a bank. Did you know that? Well, I didn't know that. I found it afterwards. Okay, well, then that doesn't. So remember, it's the prongs. What was the severity of the crime?
Mm-hmm.
What is the current danger the suspect poses to the public or the officer? And honestly, that's why I didn't say officer in public. Because, yes, officer safety is paramount, but our job is a duty to the public first. So if we have to get hurt to avoid hurting the public, it is what it is. It sucks. As an example, let's say this guy and I are about to, he's pulling, I'm pulling, I realize behind him's a crowd. Right. I can't just pull off and pray to God I land perfect rounds right here where the rounds will stop and not go through. There's a crowd behind him. So now I have a choice. I can rip that weapon out and just start letting fly and pray I don't hit someone in the crowd that's directly behind him. Or I can maybe go down to a knee where it's an elevated shot or land on my back and fire up to where it's an elevated shot. You know, he doesn't have any such concerns, obviously.
Yeah.
But you still have to have those concerns. You know, criminals, we expect criminals to do criminal things. But cops, what's one of the rules of firearm safety? You know your arc of fire. Mm-hmm. What's between you and the barrel and the bullet and behind your target? Yep. So unless you're trained Delta operator where you can put both rounds in the size of a quarter on the move right here in the heart or right here between the eyes where it will probably hold the round, we're not trained that way. Ours is just center mass. You aim small, you miss small. Well, generally we teach to hit here, so you're aiming large and you miss large. Mm. You know, now people, and I saw this when I was a firearms instructor, when I actually went to the instructor school, and I'd seen this demonstrated years prior, and I'd kind of forgotten about it. And you bring out a regular target, hey, just keep it inside the 7 ring to 10. Just keep it inside there. Well, you're aiming for this area, so it's a large target, right. And it goes out. You may hit in the 9 ring, or the 6 ring, the 5 ring, or you may miss entirely and hit the paper and not the black. But if you take a small dot about 3 inches around and put it in the center of that target and aim only for that center, you're going to keep them right about here. Aim small and you'll miss small. Mm-hmm. Well, in a real world shooting, you're just trying to get that weapon out and get land targets and stop him before he kills you. The deadly force has already been established. The deadly threat is there. But if there's a crowd behind him, what are you supposed to do? Let him kill you to avoid killing an innocent civilian, and it sucks, but that's the job we chose. We have that duty to protect the public first. Because the order of importance is what? Innocent civilians, law enforcement, first responders, then the subject. Because he made his choice. He's last on the priority scale. Right. But innocent civilians first. That's our job. And it sucks that you may be put in that position where you have to do that. But that's the job we chose. So you can't come back later and go, I felt I didn't have a choice. You did. You took the job, understanding that may be a choice you had to make one day. And that's why every law enforcement agency you ever sign into, they always have that one question. Do you understand you may be called upon to take a life? Yeah. And if you say yes, then you can't really back out of it later. I didn't know that might be a possibility. Yeah. We all know it's a possibility. It comes with the badge. It comes with the gun, the credentials you hold, and it comes with the oath or the commission. Sorry. And so you have more rules as a law enforcement officer than a civilian, because a civilian is expected to be a civilian. A law enforcement officer is expected to be the best and be currently trained and know all the laws and all the rules and every case law that is ever written about, Fourth Amendment search and seizures. And we don't. So we got to hope that you were trained by your agency really thoroughly and documented. Yeah. And that's the big one, is people don't understand, like, you got a lot of rookies and even younger officers that don't understand your training records are kept forever. Yeah. And they do that for a reason, because if you ever get sued, the agency gets sued, and they go, well, you didn't train your officer. And they pull out the training records and go, yeah, we did. Here's all the training records we hit on. Here's the signature on every one of these classes. Here's all the training he got. He was told not to do this. In fact, here's the lesson plan. It was in the slides, or it was taught verbally or whatever by the instructor. This, do not do this. The agency is severing its liability from you. Like, no, we didn't train to do that. Yep. But if you do what your agency trained you to do, and you fell under your training regimen and your policy, the agency is responsible for that. They trained you to do that. Derek Chauvin was a prime example of that with George Floyd. His agency trained him to do that. That's how the agency trained to subdue somebody, was the knee in the neck and all that. Because if you put the knee right here, it doesn't break, it doesn't stop the air, and doesn't stop blood. You're not going to knock them out by putting your knee right here on the side. Like for the camera, right here is not going to cause any of that. You're not blocking their breath or blood, which is the two things that a choke does, is block breath or blood. He was trained by Minneapolis PD to do that, but they did not allow those training records into his trial, which should be an automatic appeal, honestly, because that is how he was trained by his agency. So now you got to hold the agency liable. That's how you trained him. You're responsible for that. Maybe you shouldn't have trained him to do that way. But agencies now, and if every agency hasn't gone back through their curriculum since George Floyd and really gone through it thoroughly in the training and use of force, they need to, because that's going to come back to haunt you. And if you do change something, you're going to have to do an in-service and train every officer. Don't do this any longer. You will now do this. So that's why we tell people there's law and there's policy. Laws are still written pretty generally. Policy is what tightens it up. So the law says, here's the law as it applies to law enforcement or civilians or whatever. But then here's policy for those specific agency and those officers in that agency. This is why you may do something that's not against the law.
Right.
Okay, it's not against the law to chase a motorcycle. It's not. It's fully legal under Texas state law to chase any motor vehicle that evades.
Right.
100%. But your agency says no. You shall not chase unless in very specific authorized circumstances with authorization of supervisor, whether that's a sergeant, lieutenant, captain, chief, whatever gets on the radio and goes authorized. That's going to be, I can only think of like, that would have to be like he's wanted for several murders, incredibly dangerous. We need to stop him now any way we can. Again, nature of the crime.
Right.
Pickpocketing, theft, let it go. Let it go. Yeah, we'd love to chase everybody that runs and put them in jail. Some things aren't worth it. And I do not want to stand over a body in a death in custody, which we discussed in the last episode what death in custody is, because he stole $20 of crap from a Walmart. That doesn't match. That's okay, it's theft. Like, good Lord, it's a class B. Like, let it go.
Right.
But the guy's wanted for murder, sexual assault, aggravated robbery, aggravated assault. That is a dangerous person we need in the custody. So circumstances may change and some things may get authorized that normally they wouldn't be, but it's all dependent on the totality of the circumstances. What is he wanted for? Is he a danger to the public if we let him continue, if we don't get him into custody, XYZ? So let's say that you chase that motorcycle that you legally were allowed to, but your agency policy said no. You cannot be held criminally liable because state law says you can, but you can get sued in a wrongful death because your agency policy said you will not.
Right. Yep.
That's what you don't understand. So if you do something out of policy but it's not against the law, you can't be held criminally liable for it, but you can be sued, and the agency's going to be like, that's not what we trained him. Our policy says no, and here's the signature on policy.
Yeah.
And that's why we have that in our agency. We have that electronic policy system. When a new policy comes out, it gets updated. You sign and click at the bottom that you understand this and you read it.
Yep, it's registered. Yep.
Yep. Like, nah, they'll bring that out of your trial real fast. Nope, here's the records. He signed it saying he read it on this date and time. He read it. Did you read it? Probably not. Like, okay, whatever. Sign, move on to the next one. I read them just because I'm kind of curious what the mindset is for the administrators, just to see what they're thinking or what changed.
Yeah.
Sometimes they can bring up the old one, put them side by side and go, okay, that changed. But sometimes it's just one sentence. Sometimes it's just they add something because of a recent case law or something, or a recent change in state law. Okay.
Right.
State law changes pretty rapidly. You get this House bill, that Senate bill, changes this, changes that, do this, don't do that anymore. And you have to change policy to match that. So if a law changes, that policy before said you could do that, but the law now says no, you can't. You have to go back to and change the policy going, do not do this. So policy is a guide, though, and this is where it becomes muddled, because policy is a guide. You can break policy in certain circumstances that you can justify and articulate. Like, I know it says don't do this, but here's why I did it. And administrators, if they like you, all right, that's justifiable. They don't like you? No, policy said no, and you did it anyway.
Yeah.
That's kind of the downside to policy, is it's very flexible depending on the situation and who it is. Do they like this person? Not like this person? And it could just be a personality conflict. They just don't like that person just because, we don't like his personality. He's a dickhead or he's whatever. But we're humans and we have that prejudice against somebody based on, hey, he's a fucking asshole, dude. No, this is our chance to get rid of this dude when he's a good officer. Otherwise, maybe he's just go work on his interpersonal communication skills a little bit.
Right.
So you have those issues too. But just because state law says you can do it doesn't mean you can. It's going to be dependent on your agency. Like you get Georgia State Police, they'll chase you until the wheels fall off the car. You ran, they're going to get you. And that officer is going to be protected by their agency because, no, you ran. That's it. The state law says we can chase you. You shouldn't have done it. Now, if state law changes, it says you may no longer chase for non-violent crime. A traffic infraction is not a violent crime.
Yep, that's true.
But that car runs over someone and the crosswalk keeps going.
Yeah.
That's a violent crime.
That's a violent crime. So
it's all going to be situational dependent. As cops, you got to be flexible. You have to be able to change on the fly your OODA loop. Because your OODA loop should be constantly updating. For those that do not remember what an OODA loop is, cops, we should all know what an OODA loop is. And military should know what an OODA loop is. Observe, orient, decide, and act. What do you want to do? What you don't want to do? It should be constantly updating. Like downgrade, upgrade this, downgrade this. It's like use of force. And let's talk about that because I taught actually a class last week on deadly force. It was an hour-long presentation just on the basics, but you have the use of force continuum. And it starts, and I've seen it at the wheel, and I've seen it at the stair. And I like the wheel better, and I'll explain why here in a minute, why I like the wheel use of force better than the stair step. Stair step starts at command presence.
Yep.
And then you go to soft hands, and then hard hands, and then intermediate use of force, and then deadly force. You know, there's this whole stairwell.
Right.
Problem with the stairwell is that some officers are locked into that thought process. I have to go through these steps before deadly force. No, you don't. So if I walk up on a car and he's swinging a gun out at me, I don't have to try for de-escalation and soft hands and hard hands and intermediate weapons. I can go straight to lethal force because he is presenting a lethal threat to me.
Right.
But officers lock into that. And that's where you see a lot of officers getting hurt these days is because they lock into that. Like, oh, I got to do the stairs. I got to do the stairs. Let me tell you why I like the circle where it's all around you. You can reach over and pick whatever you need. I need soft hands. I need hard hands. I need de-escalation. I need intermediate. I need deadly, whatever it may be. The circle implies you stand in the center of it and you can look around and pick the tool you need. Mm-hmm. I think that's a safer option. But get them out of that stair-step mindset and pull them into, I need the tool I need when I need it.
Right.
That's a healthier, safer option in my book. Now, you can escalate a use of force. He's fighting you. You're fighting him. And then he goes passive. Do you still keep pounding on him, or do you start bringing it back down?
Yeah, bring it back down.
Start bringing it back down. Okay, all right, man. All right, you done? Okay. All right, man, I got you. Get him in handcuffs. Get him searched. Remember, it's cuff, then search. Cuff, then search. Cuff, then search. It's not search, then cuff. It's cuff, then search. Then get him medical attention because you don't want to show deliberate indifference. And most agencies also have a policy where if you use force, you will get medical, EMS, whatever you got to do, you will check them out. And a lot of agencies have a policy where the supervisor has to show up now. Hey, Sarge, I used force. I need you to get out of here. And the Sarge will come out and talk to the suspect, look at his injuries or her injuries and document them and go, what happened?
Right.
And they do that to protect the agency because you'll get a suspect that you had a little chingasa with, no big deal. Punches weren't thrown, but you had to put him on the ground and get him cuffed. And you look at them on the scene, they don't got a scratch on, they're not complaining of injury, asking for medical, and then they get down to the jail, and all of a sudden they got 3 broken ribs and a broken arm. And you're like, that's not what happened.
All right.
So if you cover your bases immediately and get EMS to them, one, you're not showing deliberate indifference. You get in the medical care because it ain't personal. You got them in custody. Got to take care of them now. And then you get a supervisor out there to document the injuries right now. Usually what we'll do in our agency, your agency and mine, is we'll get crime scene out there, document this now. And they'll take pictures of them head to toe, hands, arms, torso, legs, whatever, face, head, whatever. Let's see these injuries now so they don't all of a sudden later come up. Like, well, that's not how he looked on the scene. How the hell did he look like that when he got to the jail? Which would beg another question, what happened in the back of the car? Now, our vehicles have cameras right in the back of the car, look right down into the back seat. It covers the entire back seat. You're not going to get away with that, nor should you.
Right.
This ain't personal. Remember Freddie Gray?
Yeah.
They should have secured him in that fucking car. They should have secured him correctly.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if Baltimore PD has seatbelts in their transport vans. I don't know.
I have no idea.
I have no idea. But they should have secured him because he can't stop himself. He's in handcuffs, hands behind his back. So how's he supposed to stop himself from bouncing off walls and hitting the floor? You had a duty to protect him and you didn't. That was a no-no. That was not done right. And I can look back on it and go, no, that was not done right. Will I defend officers? Yes, when they've done it the right way. Okay, but when you do it the wrong way, brother, sister, I can't defend that. Well, you knew better, and you let your ego, your pride, or your anger get the best of you, and now riots are starting again, and here comes all the protests, and Congress wants to help sort fact from fiction. I mean, it just the FBI wants to come in because you let your ego, pride, or anger get the best of you. Yeah, he tried to punch you. Yeah, the suspect tried to kick you. Yeah, the suspect maybe even pulled a knife on you. But once you got him in handcuffs, it's over.
Yep.
It's done.
Yeah.
He's not trying to kill you personally because of you personally. He's trying to kill you or get away from you because of your job, which is take them into custody and hold them accountable for the crime they committed. But it's not personal. Now, it's easy to feel it's personal when someone attacks you. But bear in mind, when you're in uniform wearing a badge, that's what they're attacking is your badge, not you. They don't know you personally. They don't know you from Adam. Okay, now, if you go to a small podunk town, maybe, where they all grew up together, went to high school together, one became a cop, the other one became a criminal, then yeah, hey, man, I know your wife and kids, man, what the hell you do me like this for? I've known you since we were friends, whatever.
Yeah.
But generally, you get the large metropolitan areas, that's typically you don't know these people unless you work the same area constantly and you dealt with them before. Like, really, Ricky? Again? Like, really? We did this last week. Like, why again? But by and large, we don't know the person. And remember, as we remember from use of force, out of 100 contacts, 97 are going to be verbal, 2% are physical, but they're just trying to get away from you, 1% is trying to kill you flat out. Like, they're going to kill you.
Yeah.
And it has that, they're not trying to get away from you. They want to kill you for whatever reason. Either intense hatred of law enforcement or...
Yeah.
And again, this goes back to command presence. This is why I tell officers, if you look like shit, you will be treated like shit and you will not be taken seriously.
Yeah.
But if you look ready, you're in shape, good haircut, uniform's clean, duty belt squared away, boots are clean, and you stand a certain way with that, interview stance, but you had that voice that says, I will not be fucked with, that stops a lot of shit real fast before it even starts. You look at this officer and go, I can't take him. But then you look at the overweight officer, dirty uniform, clearly not paying attention, clearly doesn't care. I've seen it all. They're like, I could probably take this guy. Mm-hmm. Either I can get away from him or I can fight him. It's going to be one of the two, and I'll get his weapon or whatever, and it just escalates from there.
There's truth in that, yeah.
And a lot of truth in that. There's how you look. That's why drill sergeants, when I was a drill sergeant, we always look our best. We always. Uniform is tapered and tailored and clean. Boots are polished. You have a perfect shave, no matter if you only had 2 hours of goddamn sleep. You have a perfect shave. You look ready. You look like a robot. There was a reason that all the branches, instructors, look like that. Because one is credibility. To your trainees, your recruits, whatever they are. Air Force is called trainees. And 2, the trainee's less likely to bow up on you when you look ready to whip his ass because you are in shape and uniform is tailored and you look, go ahead. Go ahead, trainee. There's always that, you hear that stupid shit. I never joined the military because if a drill sergeant got in my face, I'd knock him out. No, you're not going to. No, you're not. But occasionally you do find one that will. And then that's your duty to pound that little shit into a pile of goo on the floor because we're not in law enforcement, we're in the military.
Right.
And then we discharge his ass. And I had that happen to me one time. And we dogpiled. All 4 of us dogpiled that trainee and
That's
beat
crazy.
the shit out of him.
The Air Force is supposed to be the branch where, this is no slight, but they say it's the least. Like, it's the least intense.
And some things it is.
The least intense.
Some things it is. Some things it isn't. It just depends on what you're doing.
That dude couldn't. I mean, honestly, if you just can't hack basic discipline being put into your life, you're probably going to be very undisciplined and have a hard life just in general because you can't discipline yourself.
That's right. And so it's our job to bring that discipline and turn that civilian into an airman. Mm-hmm. Now, we're not the Marines and the Air Force, and we're not the Army, we're not infantry, but there's a base level of discipline.
Yeah.
And a base level of military bearing we want out of you, and there's a base level of attention to detail that we want out of you, because regardless of whether you're going to infantry or whether you're going to be supply or a cook, it doesn't matter, you're still in the military. Yeah. So there's a base level of discipline. And even the Air Force gets them where they come in and then they realize they don't want to be, they don't like being yelled at, don't like being told what to do. And we're like, well, did you never watch a military movie in your life? This is how it works. Everybody you see, every drill instructor you see standing there was in your shoes at one point. They started out the same as you, and now they're where they're at because they had the ability to maintain good bearing, discipline. They're excellent records. They're knowledgeable about the career field, and they want to pass that knowledge on. There's a reason why people are picked to be instructors. Mm-hmm. That's the reason. We're going to instill a new discipline. We're going to instill a new esprit de corps. We're going to instill a new military bearing, attention to detail. And for those that don't understand, that are watching, that are prior military, why do they make us fold shirts perfectly every single time? It's attention to detail. So in the Air Force, okay, it's not infantry. You're not setting up claymores. You're not setting up, battle lines or ambushes or battle drill 1 Alpha. But let's say you're going to be a jet mechanic for an F-16. If you can't fold a T-shirt, I don't want you working on a $70 million fighter that if you fuck up, kills that pilot.
Yeah, that's very true.
They have to, or they eject out of the aircraft and that plane noses right into a school full of children because you couldn't remember one damn thing. That's why we beat and beat and beat and beat that attention to detail. And military logic is to logic as military music is to music. It has its own thought process.
Mm-hmm.
It's a tried and true system. And the day they stopped allowing instructors to put their hands on trainees is when it started going downhill. It really did. Because I had hands put on me in the 90s. Okay. And 10 years prior to that, they were beating the fuck out of trainees. Okay. It's just the way it was. And we could use profanity to trainees. Now all of a sudden we'll hurt their feelings. Well, do you think their feelings are going to be hurt when bullets are whizzing by their head? Now the Air Force has gotten a little smarter. If you're going to go into any of the Zulu crew fields, pararescue, TACP, combat control, special reconnaissance, and maybe even EOD, not 100% sure on that one. There's a separate squadron that specifically the instructors there are from those career fields, and they get treated a little rougher because of what they're heading into. Didn't used to be that way, though. You did standard basic training. There was a time of 6.5 weeks, and they moved out to 8.5 weeks. They added 2 more weeks. Mm-hmm. But you got the same level of training results. And then you went off to the One Zulu training school. And they realized, well, that's not really working. So they had to make a squadron specifically for the special operations. And the instructors, the drill instructors, they're still drill instructors, but they come out of those career fields.
Right.
So they, from day one, no, this is going to be a little tougher than the average trainee across base that's going to go to supply.
Right.
And that's why. Well, law enforcement is really no different. They took away the discipline. When I went to the academy, it was a lot tougher. Mm-hmm. And they held you to a much higher standard. And they didn't fuck around with it either. And they would cut your ass in a heartbeat and send your ass packing like, oh, you ain't cutting it? Goodbye. And there was a reason for that. Mm-hmm. And now when they've watered down law enforcement so much because they're more concerned about feelings than facts and reality. And the reality is, if we do not inoculate you in the academy against that stuff, it's going to bite you in the ass when you go out to the streets of real criminals that don't give a shit about your fucking feelings, don't care. Criminals understand reality better than rookie cops. Criminals understand that reality a lot better. And they're counting on you, and they look at you and go, "Oh, you're fresh out of the academy. I know you're a bitch punk because I know you didn't get treated like the old school cops that you used to fuck with, and them old school cops will put their hands on you real fast because they understand reality too."
Yeah.
Like honestly, violence is the answer 99% of the time. Violence solves a lot of problems. It does. Violence solves a lot of problems.
Especially if
ask Nagasaki, ask Hiroshima, ask the Germans at Bastogne. Violence solves problems.
Like, especially when the person that you're going after, you're going hands-on with, or that I guess is like has a warrant, their criminal history is violent, it's because they're violent.
Because they're violent.
And the only way you're going to get them into custody
is through violence. Now, we're not begging for that. We're hoping that, like, hey, maybe today this guy will be like, all right, you got me today. I don't feel like fighting. But you better be prepared for that outcome.
Oh, yeah.
You better be prepared for when the guy you're going after has a known violent background. He's got a caution, armed and dangerous, warning, violent toward law enforcement. You probably shouldn't walk up, hey, Ricky, how's it going? Mm-hmm. You might want to already start out with, Ricky, don't even think about it. Put your hands behind your back. Get down to your knees now. And if you got to start there instead of, hey, what's going on? Because of you got that warning, like he needs to know from the top, you're going to do what you got to do.
Right.
He may not like the result if he decides he's going to play rough.
Right.
But when you walk up, because everybody's gotten so into de-escalate, 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 de-escalate. And you see these officers getting swung at with bats or knives. Sir, please, sir, stop. Sir, I'm just trying to help you. Stop. Because they're so scared to do anything other than that I will get in trouble. Mm-hmm. Well, Graham versus Connor, Garner versus Tennessee, and Barnes versus Felix says, if it's a deadly object and it can cause you death or serious bodily injury, sorry, you made your choice. And nothing says we have to sit there and try actively while they're actively trying to do it. Now, if you get the barricaded subject like you brought up earlier in the house, and there ain't nobody else in the house, okay, let's bring it down a little bit of a notch.
Right.
Let's try to get the negotiators out here. And let's see if we can peacefully get him out so he doesn't hurt himself or hurt one of us because the immediacy is not there. Okay,
Right.
we know where he's at, number one. He's by himself in the house, number two. All right, if he stays in there, he can't really hurt us.
Yeah.
So let's see if we can calm him down, get the negotiators out here. But if he steps out on that front porch and starts rapping off rounds, okay, well, the choice got made.
Yeah, it's true.
Little bullet, big space, but sometimes bullets hit meat. Sorry, man, you made your choice, and that sucks. But ultimately, you're going to be cleared because he had the deadly intent and the deadly ability. You have to have them both.
Right.
I can intend to kill you, but if I have no way to actually do it, can you use deadly force against me?
No.
No. I want to kill you, but I have no way to kill you.
Right.
But now let's have deadly intent, and I'm holding a gun.
Yes.
Now, yeah, sorry, you made your choice. Yeah, I can be like, last chance, motherfucker. Like, if I got my gun out, don't even fucking think about it. And I've had to do that before where I knew they were armed and they start to reach and I get mine out first. Don't even fucking think. Last chance. You pull it and I'll kill you. And I've gotten lucky. They usually look at you and go, clink. They drop it because you got the drop on them.
Right.
But they saw it in your eyes that you were not playing. So when you get these rookies that come out of the academy, and it's something you got to learn. Now, some people have it naturally. They come from a military background where they already have that don't fuck with me look on their face and that tone of voice, that command presence. Like, this ain't a good idea. Don't fuck with this rookie. But then you get these other rookies, you look at them and go, okay, this is the dude that's going to try and talk to me for half an hour and give me all the opportunities in the world. And there's that very famous video where they interviewed those 3 convicts. You ever see it? The one with the glasses.
I never saw it, but I always heard about it.
You need to watch
especially
it.
in the
And
training.
Every
I
cop
just never saw the video.
Every cop should watch that YouTube video where he interviews them and asks, why'd you pick that cop? Because they were all in there for killing cops. That's what they were in there for. Why'd you kill that cop? And they will tell you. They'll tell you flat out. Well, there's times I'm pulled over and that officer looked like he's ready to whip my ass. And I was like, you know what? This ain't the one. Because he looked too prepared. He looked too professional. His command presence was real clear that he was in charge and he was watching me like a hawk. I didn't have the opportunity and I knew it. This ain't the one. And the ones that did kill cops, they were like, oh yeah, he's out of shape. He or she wasn't paying attention. Uniform looked like shit. They didn't have any command presence. I can beat this one. And that was their mindset. So if you look ready, if you stay hard, you don't got to get hard, right?
Yeah, true.
If you stay ready, you don't got to get ready. That mindset works in everything. If you walk up on that car, polite but firm, hello, sir, I'm Officer So-and-so. The reason I stopped you is XYZ. You got your license and registration. I'm not being a dick, but my tone of voice makes it clear I'm not broken bullshit. I've told you who I am. My tone of voice makes it clear I'm in charge. And honestly, during the traffic stop, I am in charge. It's my traffic stop. Right now, this is my car. I have seized you for whatever violation I have observed. When it's over, drive safe, sir. I don't say have a nice day because you get a negative reaction from that.
Mm-hmm.
Drive safe.
Yeah.
Okay. But if I walk up all wishy-washy, like I don't care, not paying attention, looking around, and this guy is a criminal with ill intent, and you look like a shitbag, and he's ready, and you're not, you might come out on the wrong end of that. So this whole watering of academies, watering it down, that's a dangerous, dangerous thing.
Mm-hmm.
And more officers are getting hurt now than ever because they are so programmed to de-escalate, 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 de-escalate. Use your wheel of force, not your step stair of force. Use the wheel of force. If you got to go to whatever tool you got to go to, you can bring it up, you can bring it down. It's nice when you don't have to even go anywhere other than command presence and verbal commands only. That's great. That's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
But the real world don't work that way.
Yeah.
But instead of having that mindset as cops that you need to take that stair step, I need to have soft hands. Oh, then I got to use hard hands. Oh, then I got to do intermediate. Oh, then I got to pull a taser. Oh, I got to pull a baton. Yes, Jax, we are all aware you're here.
He wanted to speak in a little bit too.
He did too. Lay down, buddy. Lay down. So, and then, now I can use deadly force. I've gone through all the steps. By then, the guy's on top of him stabbing him.
Yeah.
Or pulled a gun and got it into the officer before the officer finally got one into him.
I watched a hard video recently. It was actually hard to watch because you can hear the gurgling of the officer. So
Was it Vetter?
is that the one where he
Trooper
got?
Vetter?
No. This is a different one. Can't remember. Dang it. I don't remember the agency. I just watched. I think the video is from like 20. It's more recent, maybe 10 years in between a 10-year period. But the officer got called, I think, for a suspicious person, and it's a guy dressed in all black, kind of standing outside of a fence. The officer's polite, walking up to him, and the guy's being aggressive and hostile from the beginning, like takes a more like strong stance. It's kind of like, what's he cursing at the officer by giving the tough words. He pulls a knife real quick as the officer is trying to get close to him, try to talk to him. The officer retreats and he backpedals, and I guess he tripped over his footing because he's like trying to turn and run, but he could be sidestepping or trying to get that full sprint. And the attacker capitalizes on it and stabs the officer in the neck. So you can hear the gurgling and the gasping for air, and the dude ends up getting smoked by his own brother. Because I'm guessing, I don't know if the brother was a caller or whatever, and there was like maybe some mental health issues going on with the offender or whatever. But
The brother of the offender shot the offender?
yes,
Oh, wow.
it's just
That's going to be awkward at Thanksgiving.
it's crazy because it's like it's a really tough video to watch, and it sucks for the family and stuff like that. But it just kind of it just makes you wonder all the de-escalation, right? Like we're saying, we're giving all the de-escalation for people that we constantly deal with, for people who they have a violent history. The violent history may not be immediately known to us, but as soon as we find out who they are, you can see the cautions, the warning labels. And if they're already starting this high, why is it that we have to try to de-escalate so much when they're already telling us who they are that day and what they're going to do to us that day?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not
Tomorrow,
saying you gotta
yeah.
pull something out and crack them on upside the head with it. But if you're gonna start with me here, just on the verbal, and I just pull it up, meet you right here.
Mm-hmm.
Like, hey man, like what the fuck do you want? Well, I'm gonna tell you what I want. You're gonna turn around. You're gonna put them hands on your head. That's what I want. No, nothing else. I don't want nothing else.
Yep. Now, once that's done, then we can discuss what we
And
need
if
to
you
discuss.
want to you want to blade, you want to throw them hands up. Okay. Now we're gonna get to work.
And that's
But
the choice
it
you
shouldn't
made.
be like, well, hey man, the fuck you want? What you doing here? Well, sir, please.
Oh, hey,
like,
sir.
I'm just here for the
to
block.
talk to you. Because
Even on the streets, they don't respect that.
You're already, yeah, that's right. And you're showing your weakness already. You're showing that you're not prepared.
I'm not saying it's like patrol officers, deputies, troopers. We got to be in the street to interact with the street. But it's like you said, it's the firm but professional.
Mm-hmm.
I'm coming here to handle business. I'm not coming here to be soft.
I'm here for a reason. Whether it was
Right.
called, something I observed, I'm here for a reason.
And de-escalation does work, but the person has to be willing to be de-escalated.
They have to be willing to be
Like,
de-escalated. Then there comes...
they have to accept it too. It's just not
That's
like
right.
it's blanket like we can give it and everybody's going to accept it. Like they have to be willing to be de-escalated. Some people that work in mental health units, specialized units, they can come across an individual who's in an active psychosis, but if they do not want to accept the de-escalation, sometimes they're straight up say, "Well, you're not taking me to the hospital. I want to fight you." What do you do with that?
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
you can just leave
you're going to the
and leave them to
hospital.
their devices.
Yeah. And then here comes the family and all the protests
Right,
starting.
Because then they'll say, well, they didn't help. Like the family can say, well, they didn't help me. So one of my other family members ended up getting hurt. My loved one killed themselves in the psychosis, and the law enforcement just left and didn't want to do anything.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't willing to accept the de-escalation. That's what the report will reflect.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, that's bad, right? So then you go hands-on with them. Maybe they suffer an injury. Unfortunately, they may get killed if it's a bad active psychosis like that. And then the other outcome, the narrative is that they came in and they didn't de-escalate enough, and then my loved one was killed.
Yeah,
it really sucks.
It does. It's a double-edged sword.
And it's
It
all
can cut both ways.
and it's all who's viewing the prism.
Yeah.
Because the view can just go through the prism and just ping, bing, 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 bing. It just all goes in all different directions. Except in the one where it should just, where does it start? Where does it lead you? How about we use that prism?
And
Like
that's,
where it just, that viewfinder, where it started here and you follow everything that happened in a linear path, and that was your outcome.
yeah, linear and chronological. What
Right.
happened and how did it happen and when?
Not all these, well, I'm going to give it to this person, and they can look at it and say, well, I can see this, 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 and this here. Well, I'm going to give it to this person and see what they say. And then you got 3 different viewpoints that for some reason they're all watching the same thing.
I know.
But
And
they're making
they all
different
see something-
interpretations
Yeah,
of
they
it.
all see something completely different. You're
Right.
like, well, how did you see that? 'Cause that's not what I saw.
Now,
But we're all a product of our experiences too, and our own personal experiences in life.
right.
But what people need to understand is if you're going to put your hands on somebody, there's always the possibility someone's going to get hurt or killed.
Mm-hmm.
Always. Even in a bar fight where it's just 2 guys just drunk and pissed at each other, but one picks up the beer bottle, hits that guy just right and kills him. Because beer bottles don't break like the movies look like they break. It actually takes a lot to break a beer bottle outside someone's
Yeah, I
head.
know. Yeah.
And you're going to give them a TBI, a traumatic brain injury. So anytime that a suspect decides to go hands off with an officer, that suspect needs to be aware, I might get killed doing this. The officer also needs to be aware that, hey, if I go hands on with this guy, I might get killed or I may have to kill him.
Yeah.
And that's why the officers need to train. And jiu-jitsu, honestly, really is the best application for law enforcement to get people under control without hurting them.
Right.
I'm not talking about the octagon. I'm talking about holds, manipulations, joint locks, wrist weaves, to where nobody's getting hurt here. We're going to get you down on the ground. If you know what you're doing with wrist locks and holds, you can get them down on the ground and hold them in place without expending a lot of energy. Wait for backup to get there. Hey, get that other arm.
Yeah.
All right, I got this one. You got it? All right, bring it around. All right, sir, really?
I've heard that like some officers talk about that if you're not trained, it can lead to excessive force.
It can, because I have seen officers who are heavily trained in jiu-jitsu, like they are black belts, they're blue belt, like they've been trained. They don't panic. They don't, oh my God, what do I do? What do I do? They're like, okay, come on. And they start in their mind, what am I going to do? That doesn't hurt this person, doesn't hurt me, and I get them into custody. And those are the ones that end up with very low outcome of officer or subject being hurt because they got them under control without hurting them. You might have to throw a chingazo or two in there, but you're not flailing away at their head with a baton or I'm gassed out, bang, 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 because I'm gassed. And if I pass out, I lose my gun and I lose my life because he takes the holster and goes, you know what? I'm going to solve this problem. Bang, right here.
Right.
So that's why officers need to train. Now, and this is a sad fact, and I was discussing it this last week when I was teaching use force. 99% of the time, law enforcement gets lucky. We don't run into trained fighters. We don't really run into trained fighters. I'll tell you right now, if I pulled over Chuck Liddell and he got out of the car and squared off, I'm probably going to have to escalate to deadly force when I'm by myself. If I have a second unit, hey, you be lethal and I'm going to try the taser. But if I'm by myself and Chuck Liddell gets out, I know my limits. I am not an octagon fighter. I will not win this fight. He is going to kill me. That changes totality. But the average cop runs into the average subject. The average subject is not a trained fighter. You can be an untrained brute or a very well-trained petite person and still get that untrained brute in the, if you know what the hell you're doing, wrist lock, joint manipulation, jiu-jitsu, you've studied, you practice, you work out and you're constantly in the dojo or the gym, you probably get him to custody. So if you decide to go hands-on with that trained fighter, you better have some training yourself.
Right.
Because, and I'm not knocking women officers. I'm really not. But if you're 5'2" and this guy's 6'4" and he's drunk and pissed and you have not really actually trained, you spent more time on TikTok and your nails versus actually training, you're more than likely going to have to shoot that person. And that's just the realities. Now, will it be justifiable? Yes. Based on size disparity. Oh, well, he's 6'4" and I'm 5'2". I weigh 95 pounds. He weighs 220 pounds. He's got muscles bigger than my head. I didn't have a choice. He was going into custody, and I didn't have time to wait for backup, or it happened too fast for backup to get there, or whatever it may be. But let's reverse that. You're 6'4" officer, weigh 230 pounds, plus all your gear, so weigh about 260. And it's some guy or gal that's 5'2" and starts trying to punch you. It's not going to look real good if you pull out a gun and go, bang, I don't want to get punched. It's going to be, again, size disparity, because the prosecutor now, when they're coming after you for murder, is going to stand you up, and they're going to stand up a mannequin that's their size and go to the jury. You see the size difference here? So officers can alleviate a lot of that with actual training. Get in jiu-jitsu. Learn boxing. Jiu-jitsu is still the best application for law enforcement. It has the best application because it's designed to hold, grapple, get them under control, hold on to them without hurting them. Now, they do teach you how to hurt. That's the whole point of UFC is try to knock each other out. But for law enforcement, our goal is to get you into custody with the minimum amount of force used. So if I can get you in a wrist lock and a wrist weave and just hold you there, I'm not kicking you, I'm not punching you. So anybody even standing around with a phone watching, it's still kind of boring because I'm just holding you in place.
Right.
I'm like, hey, dude, stop. And you call me, get your radio. Hey, I need units over here. I got one resisting. They'll get over there. We get them into cuffs. There was no, socking them in the mouth, socking in the face, throwing knees. Now, when you have to do that, you have to do that. It is what it is. You better start throwing them knees and start throwing them elbows. I mean, it is what it is. But if you're trained and skilled enough to actually just get them held onto to where he can't get away from you, and you're not burning all this energy to hold on to him because you're just holding him, just waiting, the outcome's going to be a lot better, and the use of force won't look so bad. Because as we all know, it's not what it was, it's how it looked. So, yeah, you could have a justified use of force all day long where you're pounding the crap out of this guy, and he's fighting you back. It's legitimate, but it doesn't look good. Because everyone trains officers to always be the most squared away, most capable with their hands, most capable of getting someone under control that does not want to go to jail, that is drunk, that is high, whatever it may be. And they expect us to be like, sir, stop, stop, wrist locking around the ground, whatever. Sounds great.
It's just not the reality.
But it's not the reality of law enforcement in the moment. And anybody who's worked DWI unit especially knows that things change with the drunk real fast. And their mental attitude changes real quick. And the fight's on. And drunks don't always feel things. Like you can start wailing on them, and they're not feeling it. Now, they're going to feel it tomorrow in the holding cell when they sober up and they wake up and they're busted up. They ain't going to feel it right then when they're hammered. And that's just the reality. You get some big asshole on tequila that wants to fight. He may not feel anything. The taser may work because that has nothing to do with that. It's neuromuscular incapacitation. Lock him up, lay him out. But you can't count on that tool.
Yeah.
You just can't. And officers are so scared to use their batons anymore. They are effective. And if you use them correctly, they do work. Because no one likes being hit, and it hurts like hell. If you give that good solid, and I'm an ASP instructor. I teach baton. And I tell my trainees, you swing for everything you got in that first hit. And if you connect, shoulder, bicep, whatever, or they throw their wrist up and you hit them right here, with everything you had in the first swing, you're probably not going to have to do a second swing. Don't give them a social hit. They're going to be like, oh, that didn't hurt. Oh, that really didn't hurt that bad. Not realizing you didn't give them everything you had. But if you deploy that thing, and you better get back, and they square off, and you give it everything you got, and you break it down 45-degree angle, not across the head, not across the neck, or the throat, or the face, or the balls, or the kidneys, but you're going for large muscle groups, bicep, forearm, shoulder, try to avoid the clavicle. If you get everything you got, you're probably going to stop it with the first swing, and they're done. Oh, okay. Lay down. Now you're getting another one. Problem solved. Now, we do teach aim at the shins, but that really doesn't really work. You're standing up, they're standing up. You don't want to be aiming low at their shins unless you got a long 36-inch baton. Maybe you can actually get them across the shin. But anywhere in that large muscle group from shoulder down to wrist, you get them that as hard as you can. You give it that good solid shot, they're probably going to call today because it hurts so bad. And they're like, okay, I'm done. Their arm's dead and it's laying there. The arm will come back. Right. Give it a couple minutes. It'll come back. They're going to be cussed by that point. But when the fight's on, the fight is on.
Right.
Win it and be done with it. Now, there's a saying I've heard, and I tend to agree with it. It's excessive force when the officer wins the fight. I've heard that because that's their thought process. Well, he had to beat the crap out of him to win. Yeah. He's going into custody, and he wasn't allowing me to take him into custody, and the fight was on. I had a moral and legal duty to take him into custody. So he's going into custody. And if he wants to really fight that bad, then it's going to be bad. Right. But I'm going to win the fight because we don't meet the offender's use level of force. We exceed their level of force. That's why you pull your hands up, and I'm not super confident in my physical fighting abilities, I can go with a taser and put your ass down because I exceeded your level by one level. But I used the taser, and it worked. You hit the ground. I cuffed you. It's over. But if I'm confident in my hands, like I'm confident in my training and my abilities because they've been tested and I've done it before, then maybe I don't have to pull that taser and tase him and run the risk of a dart to heart or get him in the eye with a probe, or get him in the throat with a probe. We can go hands on. And every guy that loves defensive tactics, they start smiling when subjects start resisting. They start smiling like, hell yeah. This is training. To them, in their mind, it's training. This is training. It's a good training opportunity. Right. And they'll be explaining to a rookie with them, oh, yeah, that's what I'm doing this right here. And Trey's like, what the fuck? Yeah, no, you do. You give him a wrist lock, you pull it over like this, you get that arm in there, and then you twist your wrist, and they're like, oh, shit. But most people aren't trained like that. And cops, a lot of times, fall into that trap that my badge and my gun and my patches on my arm will stop him from hurting me. 97% of the time, that is true. But you don't know when you're dealing with the three.
All right.
So you better pretend everyone wants to fucking hurt you and kill you until you prove otherwise. Now, I'm not saying walk up on the 80-year-old lady who's a complainant in a walker and be standoffish and aggressive and hand on your gun. Yeah, don't do that. Okay? Have a little common sense as well, guys. Common sense being the big one. When to approach someone like that. But if you get 911 called and hang up to a house, Don't just walk up on the door, square off, and ding, ding, ding. Police department, anybody here? That's fucking stupid.
Right.
Like, use some tactical mindset and go knock and get out of that funnel. There's those walkways where it's brick all the way up to the door. You got nowhere to go. I will knock like hell and then back way down back to that corner to where I have cover. And I might just be peeking out like this with my patch and badge visible, but I'm not squaring my whole body off in that fatal funnel. And it's called a fatal funnel for a reason. That's the worst place you could be standing because you ain't got nowhere to go. You're going to bounce off the walls trying to get away from the bullets. If you're smart, you hit the damn ground because he's going to be shooting high, hit the damn ground and battle crawl out to a place of cover and concealment, return fire, or whatever you got to do. And if you can't see through the door, you probably shouldn't just go wrapping off rounds because who knows behind him? Who called 911? Is it the wife? And she's standing behind him and you start wrapping rounds off through the door and you hit the wife?
Yeah.
Well, a fat lot of good it did her. She learned how to call 911, didn't she? So there's so many factors in use of force. There's so many factors in everything we have to do. And as cops, we're not perfect. We make human decisions. We make human errors. What did I see? How did I perceive it? May be different than how you perceived it. Remember the reasonableness standard. The reasonableness standard says, what would 10 reasonable officers have done? What would they have seen this incident and go, okay, I'd have done the same exact thing? Or all 10 go, I wouldn't have done that. So it fails the reasonableness standard. But it has to be officers. What did other officers view as reasonable, not what other citizens, because citizens and officers, they are two different mindsets.
Right.
So it's a lot of things to think about when you are a police officer or a trooper or a sheriff's deputy or a federal agent, because all law enforcement, regardless of whether it's local, county, state, federal, still falls under all those same case laws. The case laws don't change. It's law enforcement. It doesn't matter if you're an FBI agent on the HRT or if you're a rookie municipal police officer. The rules don't change regardless of what uniform you wear or what badge you hold.
Right.
You better be prepared to up or down as you need to. If you can get him to start calming down. Now, if he's not armed and he's just standing there screaming and yelling, yeah, okay, maybe that's the time to try. Hey, sir, you're here. Can we bring anybody here? We can talk. But if he's sitting there swinging a knife, it's kind of going to limit your options. Now, if you have a car between you and that guy, like, hey, man, I really don't want to have to hurt you. Please put down that knife because I do not want to shoot you. But if you come near me with that knife, I'm going to have to shoot you. Like, don't do it. Don't do it. It's situational dependent.
Right.
So I urge officers to really know your case laws when it comes to use of force, really understand what the levels of force there are and how to use them and when to apply them and how they're supposed to be applied. Know your policy for your agency, what they say about use of force. And generally that usually mirrors the use of force continuum. That generally mirrors that. But you may have a policy that's a little stricter. Policy should not tie the hands of your officers. But sadly, sometimes it does tie the hands of these officers. And they'll have a good use of force that met the criminal standard and it met Graham versus Connor or Garner. But then the policy goes, oh, you were not allowed to do that. So like, well, shit, I did the right thing, but I'm getting a 5-day rip.
Yeah.
And then the lawyer for that person goes, hey, that's against their policy. Oh, hell yeah, we can sue them now because they violate policy. Can't get them arrested, but we can sue them. Wrongful death or serious injury, whatever the hell it is.
Right.
So there's so many swords to this. Trying to pick that right tool, you got to make a split-second decision. That's why good officers can think on their feet. They can change tactics as needed immediately, and then they can articulate. I didn't say justify. I said articulate why they did something. This is what I was told on the way. When I got there, this is what I observed. This is what he was doing. This was the subject's actions. People forget to put all the subject's actions in there. Like, you got to put everything he was doing because you have to articulate why you did what you did so that if it does go to a higher level, they can go, well, yeah, I would have done that too. Just based on this, I would have done that. In the modern era, we have cameras. We're all wearing body cameras. Most of us have in-car cameras too. Like, you can, like, oh, I've done the same thing. He's good. That's a reasonable use of force. That's a reasonable response by the officer. But if you walk up on the guy who's being calm and you go, hey, you fuckstick, what's your fucking problem? That dude squares off on you. Well, you kind of created that when you could have said, hey, sir, you okay? Have you got called? Everything all right? Oh, I'm Officer so-and-so. I got a call about you. They just want to check on you, make sure you're all right. Are you okay? If you keep looping it back to safety and welfare people, and they decide to take it up, Well, I was there for a welfare check, and the guy went off on me when I was trying to assess a medical condition to see if he needed medical help or mental health assistance, and he attacked me. I had no choice. Just because someone has a mental health problem does not mean they can attack you as an officer and walk away from that.
Right.
Nah, no. Texas state law, and I don't know about other states, but Texas state law says the criminal supersedes the mental. If they break the law, then they're not going to the hospital. They're going to the jail. And we have mental health staff at the jail. They can handle that. But if you get up and you get up to him and you speak to him calmly and you calm him down, like, hey, man, I just got to take you to the hospital. I'm going to make sure you're okay. I'm going to take you to the hospital. No criminal charges, no mug shots. It won't be published. We'll get you medical help or mental health help. We'll take care of that. But if that guy decides, fuck you, I ain't going, and he's clearly a danger to himself or others, well, you do what you got to do.
Yeah.
And then it goes south, and you're like, oh, well, shit, I was just trying to help the guy, and I ended up hurting the guy. It sucks. Because that's, with mentals, that's definitely not your goal. Like, this person is having a mental health episode. Like, we're not trying to hurt him or her. I'd like to get him to the hospital and let the medical professionals do what they got to do. I'm not a doctor. I'm not stepping out of my lane. That's their lane. So that's why. So I know this is kind of a heavy episode today.
Sure.
But honestly, as officers, we need to hear these things, and we need to have these refreshers, and we need to be aware of these environments.
Mhm.
And we need to be able to make good, rational, legal, justifiable, ethical decisions. So that's what I tell trainees. Is it legal, ethical, and moral? If it passes those three standards, then you're probably all right, and you're going to be okay. You can justify it to a jury. You can justify it to your boss. You can justify it to internal affairs. But if your decision is not moral, legal, or ethical, well, then you fucked up. You stepped off into a vat of shit, and your badge will not help you now. The days of that are long gone. You are held accountable for what you do, and the other officers standing around that didn't stop them from doing something illegal are just as accountable.
Yeah.
That is what it is. It ain't the old days. You can be like, I stopped to the side. Okay, man, you're good. Nope. You had a legal duty. You had a legal obligation and a moral obligation to stop that officer. Like, hey, okay, he's done. He's done. Go cool off. Now, go cool off. I've had people pull me off someone, and I've had to pull an officer off somebody. I'm glad they pulled me off. I'm glad I pulled them off. Because in the end, I saved their career. Like, hey, man, he's got it. Hey, man, go cool off. Go smoke a cigarette. Chill. I got it. Hey, man, he's gone. He's gone, man. Relax. You're talking to me now. I don't know what happened prior to me getting here, but I'm here now. What's going on? And you'd be surprised how often that works.
Yeah.
And they start, as long as that other officer goes away, like, go smoke. Yeah, it's still his arrest, but I'm going to let this dude calm down, let him calm down, and then we can try to work something together. That's my foot stomp today. Wasn't going to start out like that, but again, this is something officers need to hear. And for those that are police cadets that are listening, bear this stuff in mind. Yes, take what your academy gives you, learn it, learn your policy, learn the laws, learn these case laws, read these cases, where these case laws came from, and see how the Supreme Court works, and they make a decision, and they seem to make a ruling that has nothing to do with this, but they threw that in there as well on top of it. And everything we do in law enforcement when it's an arrest is a search and seizure. That's what it is. It's a Fourth Amendment topic. Warrants, arrests, those are all search and seizure. We're not talking about Fifth Amendment. We're not talking about First Amendment. We're talking about Sixth or Eighth. We're talking about the Fourth. Search and seizure. All persons are secure from illegal search and seizure. Now, that's unreasonable search and seizure. If it's reasonable, the law says, okay, that's fine.
Right.
You know, if you witness an on-site felony in progress, that's a reasonable reason to arrest somebody and put your hands on them. Unreasonable would be just random Joe walking down the street, come here, turn out your pockets.
Right.
Well, that's not reasonable. He has a right to privacy, unless you have an articulable, reasonable suspicion at a minimum, up to probable cause, that he's got something illegal. You know, you see the guy walking out of the bank, and he's kind of running quick, and money's falling out of his pockets while he's running. That could be a legitimate reason to go, hey, sir, come here. Come here. You know, that don't look right. And then the dye packet explodes. Oh, that's why. You know? But if you get the guy just walking out, he puts his hands in his pocket for a second, comes out with a cigarette, I'm not going to walk up, hey, turn out your pockets. I don't have the right to do that. I can ask him, hey, sir, because you can ask anything you want. As officers, we forget about consensual encounters. We can walk up to anybody we want to. Hey, how you doing today? I'm Officer so-and-so. Hey, what's your name? Now, if he goes, man, fuck you, I got to tell you shit, unless you have a legal reason to continue thinking he is wanted or something. Okay, man. I was just curious. I told you my name. I just want to talk to you. I don't want to talk to you. Okay, sir. Do I have to? No. Have a great day.
Yeah.
You know, but if they do, and you get to talk to them, hey, you mind if I just pat you down for a weapon? Just want to make sure that you're not armed. No, fuck you. Unless you have probable cause or a reason and it's a legal detainment, well, I'm going to pat you down for a weapon. If you don't, like, okay, man, well, I just wanted, hey, can you just Show me you don't have a weapon. Just can you pull your shirt up and just spin for me? Show me you don't got a weapon in your waistband. Come on, guy. You know, sometimes, fine, I'll do that, whatever. Just don't touch me. Okay. So there's a lot of things we can do as officers that we just don't do. And they all seem to forget about consensual encounters.
Yeah.
But their ego gets involved in consensual encounters. Like, no, you will talk to me. I'm the police. It's like, am I detained? And you can't say yes. And then you go, well, yes. On what? On what suspicion? What are you detaining me for? And then you're like, now you look like a real fucking moron on your camera. And then he's probably got his phone out by this time, too, and you look like a dumbass.
Right.
And I've known officers way in the past. Those officers don't work for us anymore, but stop the car. We'll figure out what to get them for when you get up to the car. Huh? That's not how that works. You need to know before you ever hit the lights why you're stopping this car. Like, that is a stupid move on your part. That's going to come back to haunt your ass.
Right.
So, I've seen that. I'm like, no, no. If this goes south, you're fucked. So, you got anything to add on this topic?
No.
Well, I think this is a pretty decent topic for today. Bear in mind, again, we're going to be moving studios. So the next time you see us, we may be in a whole new studio. It'll look similar, but it'll be a different studio. It'll be obvious it's a different studio. And like I said, we're going to work on these things where we can start adding videos that we can dissect, and you guys can watch the video with us and we can dissect them. And hopefully we'll have a third party that will actually be able to give us a hand. I have someone in mind. I just got to talk to that person and see if they're willing to do it. They might. And then we're going to eventually move to the lives. That's the goal, to where we'll have live like Patreon, where you can message us directly while we're on the podcast, while we're on the broadcast. You can send us messages. Or call-in ability, which eventually I'd like to get to, where we can interview other officers, maybe from another state, that got into something. We'd like to get their take on something. Like, hey, man, I saw this video of you, and can you explain more about what happened here? And some officers would be willing, some officers probably wouldn't be, and that's fine.
Right.
But there's enough that would love to hear the sound of their voice, kind of like me. That probably would have no problem with it. So that's where we're moving to. That's what we're going to try to do. That is the goal. We've been doing this almost 3 years now. I think 23 we started this, somewhere around 23.
So. Yeah, 23.
And so technically we should have 150 episodes, but it is what it is. And we're working on that. We're going to try to do something real special for our 100th episode. Maybe we'll have a big old bash. Who knows? Working on these things. Networking's a big one, and we're trying to get with other law enforcement podcasters and maybe kind of collaborate with them, but we're not really all that well known, so it's a battle. But we're doing what we can. We're hoping, and your help, we can get there. And as the more you tell people about us and you share our podcast, share it. Tell your family, tell your friends, tell a shithead. I don't care. Let them watch it too. They're not going to learn anything that's secret, that they can't look up for themselves on YouTube. So we don't divulge classified law enforcement information that we're sensitive to us only. So give it to everybody. And we've had criminals. I'm a criminal. I think these guys are hilarious. Hey, appreciate the watch. Learn what not to do. Ding dong. So remember, you want to email us, runnincode2023@gmail.com. That's RUNNINCODE 2023@gmail.com, or leave videos on YouTube. Again, if they're racially, or if they're prejudiced or biased or racist, we're gonna delete those. But if they're just insulting and funny, fuck them, we'll leave them up.
Yeah.
That's just funny. But we can blast you publicly because you put it on a public comment. So we can blast you publicly because you said something stupid. But if you email us something privately, depending on what it is, we'll keep it to ourselves. And if you are an officer and you don't want your name or agency mentioned, just tell us that in the email, and we won't blast your business out there.
Right.
But if you say, oh yeah, put my name out there, or just call me John H. Okay. Hey, that's on you, man. We do try to protect your privacy. So, brothers and sisters, please be safe out there. Take what we say to heart. It's our way is not the way, but I've got a lot of experience. He's got a lot of experience. I've seen this kind of stuff both from the doing and the investigating. So I know what I'm talking about, and I can back up everything I've told you with case law and examples. So I know what I'm talking about. And sometimes we need to be reminded of these things. Mm-hmm. So everybody just please be safe. Please be careful. Do things the morally, ethically, and legal way. Public's not all going to love us. That's a fact of life. But we can do our part in that too. We really can do our part in that.
Yeah.
So for everybody, unless J-Man, you got something else to add?
Yep, all good to go.
Well, J-Man and I here in South Texas are running code. We appreciate y'all for joining this week, and we're out here.